From London, England, where the Queen lives.
Recorded live from an underground bunker and packaged into an MP3 with a pretty little picture. Helping to kickstart your day with the motivation and inspiration you need 365 days a year. This is the Learn, Develop, Live podcast. And this is your host, Chris Jaggs.
Good morning! My name is Chris Jaggs, and this is the weekly episode of the Learn, Develop, Live podcast. Here we are today as we start another week full of opportunities to go and make something big happen for yourself. Hello, Monday. Now, if it is Monday that you're listening to this, how was your weekend? Hope you're relaxed and ready to take on the world. And, can I say, I believe in you. But whatever day of the week it is, smash wherever you have planned for it. For our adventure today, I have a short story of when things go wrong, and this happened to me just a few weeks ago. Yes, bad things happen to us all, don't they? Now obviously there are some pretty bad things going on in the world right now, so for this, it was a bit of a first world problem, but it's good to get an idea of what to do if and when things do go slightly wrong. So before we kick off the next adventure, let's have those messages.
You're listening to the Learn, Develop, Live podcast because alcohol doesn't always have the answer.
If you've got a question, comment or idea, you send an email to chris@learndeveloplive.com. Everyone gets a mention. You're listening to the Learn, Develop, Live podcast.
Welcome back to the episode. Now, we've all experienced something going wrong at some point. Some things are bigger than others, but when they go wrong, and often these things do, to other people they just seem like first world problems, don't they? Problems and stresses in life are inevitable, and every so often they can even seem to happen all at once. It's like blow after blow, leaving you feeling a little overwhelmed. Now in my case, I had a little bit of a problem with some tech and the podcast. Now every so often, everything Learn, Develop, Live wise is backed up to an external hard drive. This is just in case the laptop, for whatever reason, just one day decides to go to heaven. Could you imagine losing everything for a project that you spent the last several years building up from scratch and being left with nothing? Nothing. It has happened to so many people. Coursework, work for university, things that are just about to submit before a deadline, and unfortunately, these bad things will continue to happen. For my own issue, the problem started when the good old external hard drive didn't have enough space to back up the new podcast material. Now for the tech people, the podcast were coming in at around 65 gigs in size. And for those people that are not technical, the size was very, very big. In the rush of trying to delete something to make some space, and of course already deleting what was on the backup, it would seem that I somehow deleted the only copy of the folder with all the podcast material in it. Now lesson 1. Whatever you're doing, do one thing at a time. You won't be distracted and end up making stupid mistakes like I did. Now you might think, okay, you've deleted it. Why not just go to the recycle bin and restore the folder? Now you'll be right with the idea. But when you delete a folder of that size, the laptop will ask you if you want to delete it completely as it's too big to go to the recycle bin. There we have it. Gone. Just like that. Now upon realising the mistake, I had some unclean words said and the air around me would become a little bit censored. Oh fiddlesticks was not something said. Now not panicking is the first thing I did because, well, what does that achieve? Panicking doesn't help me look properly for a solution to solve this mini disaster. Nor does crying. These things can happen. It's part of life, so we move on. So how did I solve this problem? Well, to be completely honest, it's actually not completely solved. After spending many hours online trying to find software that could potentially dig out and dig in to the deleted world on my laptop, I found so many programs that are meant to do exactly what you want it to do, but didn't. Thank you, false advertising. Over the course of those hours, I think I managed to get 5 different programs I used. Now, they all found something, but between them, not everything. And from their search results, I was hoping to find, that one big folder that I, deleted. Whoops. Bring it back to life and could be playing FIFA by the end of the day. But the thing is, when a main folder goes into the realms of the unknown, all the files are taken out. Oh, this was quite an unwanted treat. After several different searches, one program seems to find a lot more stuff than the others. I was able to resurrect a lot of material, but not everything. Now this is a slow process, and as it went on, I set a minimum target of being able to try and find at least all the files I need to create a podcast. The intros, the outros, the podcast drops, the sweepers, all of this stuff to allow me to continue business as usual. And as you've seen, there's been no disruption to the episodes coming out. Phew. Every episode, almost over 1,400 of them, are downloadable somewhere. Apple Podcasts, Podbean, SoundCloud, YouTube, etc, etc. It's getting all the files that made the episode together. And let's face it, they won't really be needed anymore because the episode has been published. I'm not going to re-edit or redo it. So maybe in a weird way, this is actually a very brutal cleanup session. Over time, I'll continue to salvage the files that do work, and while the ones that don't seem to want to load, well, they can be deleted again for good this time. As I said at the beginning, this problem is nothing compared to what's going on around the world, but I want to share with you anyway. When things like this do happen, there are some positive ways to cope when it all goes wrong. Now, aside from not having to break down myself, there are some things that can be done during the time of slight emergency. Now, first of all, like all the mistakes you make, let's face it, we all make them. You do learn from them. These are the best lessons and help not only to know what didn't work, but give you a real insight into what could work when things go wrong, and this is no different. To add to that, if you're going to go through a tough time or something has gone wrong, whatever this may be, bear in mind that up to this point in your life, you have survived 100% of your worst days. So really, you're doing pretty well right now. Life's rough patches will feel like they're going to last forever. And whether it's family problems, work-related issues, or just something else, most problems will pass. A smooth ocean never made a skilled sailor. Ride those waves. Despite the bad stuff, it's good to remind you that there are also things going well for you. Human nature focuses on the bad things. You can hear a million compliments, but it's that one negative comment that makes you come crashing down. Look for the positive things, and you'll see that there are good things around you at the moment. You can also maintain your control, even if things aren't going well right now. Being able to control your actions and your attitude towards what's gone wrong is very, very powerful. How you do react will dictate how you deal with the problem or the situation, and begin with what you could call the recovery. Whatever life is going to throw at you, you can handle this. No matter how bad or crappy you feel, you can power through this, and I believe in you. It is also important to remember that help is at hand. Okay, so asking for help from anyone can be hard, especially if you're a bit too proud. But it's also one of the better ways to deal with these difficult situations. Maybe someone's gone through this before, and maybe one of their ideas or their suggestions puts you on the right road to the solution that you need. But you have to ask first. Another good rule to follow is just how important is the problem right now. Now there is a time scale that you can measure a problem against, and it's probably about 5 years. The problem and the issue that you're facing right now, will it still matter in 5 years' time? Now, even if you're dealing with a major problem, like maybe a loved one's illness, remember that lots of good things are likely to happen in the course of a year or two as well. Anything is possible. The hardest thing from all these situations is probably that you have to accept that not everything can be within your control. But the sooner you accept that, the better it will be for you. You can't change the past, a loved one's health issues, another person's behaviour. Don't waste time trying to force others to change or trying to make things be different as if it isn't within your control. Investing time and energy into trying to change things that you can't will cause you to feel helpless and just exhausted. Sometimes the best thing to do is just accept how it is and to just move on. Finally, probably the most important part here is you. Trying to take care of yourself can often fall off the radar, which, well, let's face it, is happening so much around the world right now. Whatever the situation, try and get yourself enough rest, get yourself eating enough, and exercise. Plenty of that stuff. Sometimes that little bit of you time can work wonders. Now, if you need a little extra help with achieving your goal, whatever that may be, maybe even getting started, you can book your free LDL Power Call over at ldlcall.com. 30 minutes dedicated to you. We can discuss how you can take your vision or your dream to the next level and make it a real thing. You will leave that call with some ideas and a vague plan of how you can get yourself started by yourself. And if you want to carry on working together, we can discuss that as well. The main part is getting you going in your dreams. So why not book that call and let's see what we can do. As for this episode, you can join me again for tomorrow for another quote to help kickstart your day. So you go and enjoy the rest of your day that you're having right now. And let's speak soon.
The Learn, Develop, Live podcast.
Let's go. Woo!
Join the motivation.
Goodbye.
What? It's over already?
All over.
Thank you for listening to the Learn, Develop, Live podcast. I hope you feel as warm, motivated, and fuzzy inside as I do. You can connect with Chris at LearnDevelopLive.com or on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
I won't say goodbye. I'll just say until we meet again.
Until next time, join the motivation. 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 Motivation.